So hey guys, welcome back to this series. In previous video, we were learning about the basics of Python. We installed the Python and we printed the first code in which we were telling how to print hello world. In today's video, we will be learning about the variables and the data types, what are data types, primitive data types and non-primitive data types, and things like that. So without wasting time, let's begin. So I think that you guys all might have downloaded VS Code till now, and you guys will be starting to code with me practically at the same time. So I will be hoping that you guys have already installed it. And if you didn't it, then yeah, you can check out the previous video, which in which I told about how to download VS Code and how to install Python. Okay, so what is a variable in Pythons? So in Pythons, variables are the containers that stores data values. In Python, you can say there is no command. Basically, there is no command to declare a variable, but a variable can be created by assigning a value into a variable. Like for example, in this all things, what I did, I just used a shortcut to create a comment to comment out all these things. Like see what it is. Like suppose I says a equals to 5 and b equals to 10. Okay, this is what a variable. See, we have assigned a value in a variable called a. We have given it a 5, and in variable b we have given a value of, like suppose let's print it out. So we'll print it as print a. Similarly, I'll write it as print b. So let's run it and see how it's going on. See, so you can clearly see that it's printing the value 5 and 10. So this is what basically a variable is all about. Okay, now what is casting? In the variables, you will understand what is casting. So without learning data types, let me just tell you that there are basically most importantly three kinds of data types. That is a string, then it's integer, and then there is one called float. So what let's do one thing. Let me assign some values so that you will understand what is what. So here, let me first write x equals to str. Okay, I'll write str, and inside str I'll write 3. So this is 3 inside str. Now I'll write y equals to in 3. Similarly, I'll write here one more thing, that is z equals to sl. Now what I have done here is it will be having a value like string is, you can say, non-integer kind of thing. It expects it as an alphabet, right? It will print like that. X will be, this will be the value of 3. It will be getting quotes alongside of it, but in integer there is no quote. So here the value of x will be normal 3, and in float consists of decimal values. It includes decimal values. So it will add it like will be 3.0, like that. Now let's just do one thing. Let's print all of them and let's see. This is my printing. Similarly, I'll write here as y and print. Now let's run it. You can see here for float it has given a value 3.0. In this it has given a value 3, and in this it's given us 3. But what exactly it's saying, right? So for that, let's check. See, what I did, I wrote str. While printing the statement, I wrote type, and then I asked the Python that which type of value variable is this. What I wrote here, I wrote print, then I wrote type, and then I give the value x. So here you can clearly see that we have given it str. That means this particular value 3 is a string. And here when I asked print type X, then it clearly says that class str. That means it's a string, right? Similarly, what I can do here is I can copy it here. Similarly, I can do it for Y, and the same thing I can do that for Z as well. So now let's run it again. So now you can see that it says str, int, and float. It's clearly able to tell us that the values which we have given here, it is given through by us, that is str, int, and float. So this is what values are all about. Now here comes one more thing, that is called quotes, single quotes or double quotes. So string, that is this string. This string can be declared using you can say a string can be expressed using two things, like a single quote as well as a double quote. Like if I will write here, then also it's same, double quotes 3. If I write single quotes 3, then also it's the same. Now what I can do here is I can write, suppose I want to declare some name. Like here I gave a equals to 1, simple 1, and for a, this capital A, its name is, suppose I say a string called Amok. I have given it my name, right? So variable names are case sensitive. Let's just do one thing. Let's print it. Let's just print it, right? So you can see it is printing my name, that is Amok, because I have given it capital A. That means our names and alls are case sensitive. You can give it by case. Now, moving on further, let's learn about variable names. Like a variable can have short names like X and Y, and some of them can have, like when you are creating a big, code, or when you are trying to express multiple files, like for example, when you are trying to express like age or something like that, car name. So you cannot work with this thing, right? That you cannot just simply denote it by using a single alphabet. You have to take a bigger number. Like if I want that my name should be there, I can write here as num equals to 1. Similarly, this is num. Like if I want to say my name equals to a more. Firstly, it's a string, so I have to give it in a quote. It will be like a more. This is what variable names is like. You can choose various kinds of things, like you can write my name, okay, you can write my underscore name, and you can go like underscore my underscore name, like that. Also you can give it multiple ways by which you can decide a name. You can let me say one thing, you can write all these kinds of things, like let me show you. You can give it my underscore where, then underscore my underscore where, then my, then capital where, then full capital, like that you can give it, right? But there are two or three names, or you can say there are two or three values which you cannot use here. It is like this. See, you cannot never use first numerical values. Numerical values should not be there, or integers should not be there in the beginning. Then there should not be this kind of dash in the between. Then there should not be spaces between the variables. So these all are the illegal methods, or I should say defined variable names. I have wrote this undefined variable names, and here simply I can wrote valid variable names. If you guys want, I would be providing you the code. If you want, I will put all this code in the uh, description so that you can copy it from there, and you can understand the things which I am trying to tell you, or the things which I'm trying to explain you. Moving on, now let's understand what are the types, or you can say what are the different ways of defining a variable. Then there are multiple kinds. Mostly preferred thing, or you can say the mostly preferred types of cases is camel case. For example, in mostly languages it's used. that in camel case your first word should be small, like my should be small, then every first word of another element should be capital, like my variable, then name. This is called camel case. Similarly, there is one more thing. There is one more thing called Pascal case. In Pascal case, every single word, the first letter of every single word is capital. Like my variable, here variable V will be also capital, like that. So this is called as Pascal case. Pascal case. And similarly, this one is called camel case. Right. Mostly people prefers camel case because I don't know like why, but every people has its own choice, right? But we can write however you like, sir. There is one more type of writing that is called snake's case. In snake's case, every alphabet will be like every letter will be small, but between every alphabet or variable there will be a space. You can say like variable. This is called snake. This is called snake's case. So this is how you can assign the names of variable like that. Now here comes another thing that is called many values, or let me write multiple values. uh, okay, we can define multiple values, like if we want to find multiple values, like we can write x comma y comma z equals to a. So what I did, I have assigned multiple values by in a single line, and I can do one more thing. That is, I can take the output also like this, like how I can print x. Similarly, I can write here. And similarly, here will be y. Okay. Let us see how it is. See, yeah, you can see we have got the values properly arranged by not even writing multiple lines of code. So this is how you can assign multiple values. Then there is one more type. What I can do here is I can write x equals to y equals to equals to. What I did here is I have given the same value to all the variables. Like now x also has the value of a b c d e f g h, y also have the same, and z also have the same. So if I will even print it, let's come here and let's just print all of them, and let's run the. So you can see x also has the same value, y also has the same value, and z also has the same value. This is how we can assign one value to multiple variables. Now, moving on further, let's quickly go and quickly, do one thing that is called unpack a collection. Oh, so if we have a list of, like, if we have a collection of list items are there, don't worry if you are not familiar with lists and all. Later in the upcoming parts, we will be learning about that. Like, suppose your mommy gives you a list of items that you have to bring from market. Like, for example, you have to buy fruits. What it is, your mommy gave you a list that you have to buy an apple. You have to buy apples from the market, and you have to buy bananas, and then you have to buy, suppose, mangoes. So you have to buy these three things from market. You have a list. Now what I can do here is I can assign, like I want that every single variable should be having a single item of the list, like x comma y comma z equals to fruits. What it did, now it will assign the values, like now apples will be stored in x, bananas will be stored in y, and mangoes will be stored in z. Like, let's go and now print it so you can see it in a better way. Now let's print it. So yeah, you can see now x, y, and z. Every particular variable has its own value. Similarly, if our list was big, we could give many fruits. Like suppose if I wanted cherry and something like that, cherry should be there, or strawberry. I would have given it multiple values like z, then a, comma b, like that. Now, if I would have printed similarly b, now let's check. Yeah, you can see now also every variable it's getting their own value. So this is how you can do it, right? Now, moving on further, let's focus on output variables, like how can we print outputs and everything related to outputs. Let's comment it out. And moving on further, let's suppose assume that there is a variable called x, okay? And inside this variable, I will store a string like Python is amazing. Suppose I'm saying that Python is amazing, and I want to print it. I want a variable to be printed. I can write print x, and let's run it. So yeah, now it says that Python is amazing. This is how you can print the variables. Now, if we want to print multiple variables, like here, as we were dealing with all these stuffs, right? To print multiple variables, instead of writing the same code again and again, we can just do one more thing. We can just go here. We will write print inside print whatever I have to print. Like suppose I want x also, y, and I want z. I want only these three elements or only these three variables should be printed. What I can do here is I'll just click on print. Let me remove this indentation. Now it will work just fine. Okay, so you can see, let me first clear it out. Yeah, now you can see that our three elements have been printed, that is apple, bananas, and mangoes. And all these elements have been printed in the same place. Similarly, you can do one more thing is you can add printing methods like, see, let me tell you. Suppose instead of writing this full code like that, what I can do here is suppose I assign a variable x whose value is Python. Python. Okay. Then there is another variable that is called y, and it has a string called is. And now there is one more called y, and it has, and I love it. What I have basically defined three variables, that x is Python, then y is awesome, and the z, and I love to learn it. Basically, it says that Python is awesome and I love to learn it. Now, if I want that all these things should be printed in a single statement, what I can do here is I can write print, and inside print I'll write x plus y plus z. Like that, we can just do it, and let me give you the spacing between all of them. Now let's run it, and it says, yeah, see, Python is awesome and I love to learn it. Right? It is clearly saying that the Python is awesome and I love to learn it. Right? So we can do one thing, we can assign little spaces here so that it won't look like that. Now let's run it again. Yeah, now you can see Python is awesome and I love to learn it. This is how you can print multiple variables by adding them and many more things. Similarly, you can do some mathematical problems here as well, like x equals to 99, or you can say 999, and y equals to 8888. Now I want to print the sum. Suppose I want the sum of them. I can print sum, that is x plus y. And similarly, if I want their subtraction, I can do that as well. And similarly, if I want their multiplication to be done, I can write here multiply If I want that division should be happening, so I will write yeah, divide. Now let's print every single one of them and see how it is. So when I added that, for adding it says 18887. When I subtracted it, it says 1111. When I did the multiplication, it says 88 triple eight seven triple one two. That is the value. And if I divided it, so it says 1.125. So yeah, you can do some mathematical problems as well in Python. Now, moving on further, let's learn about what are global variables. So, variables that are created outside of the function are known as global variable. Like suppose here I write x equals to Python. Okay. And now what I does here is I declares a function. Like I says define my function, and now inside my function I suppose writes a code print. I suppose I want I love, it is a string, right? So it should be in quotes, and then I can just add a plus sign and I can write x. What I did here is I have assigned a global variable that is x, that it has a value called Python. Then after declaring it, I wrote a function that is define my function, and inside the function I say print I love plus x. What is x? Inside that, let me just close my function, and x is already defined. Let's see what happens. So see, what exactly happened here is it printed I love Python. It says I love Python. So this is what a global variable is all about. Global variables is defining a variable outside of a function. That is called global variable. Right. Now there is one more thing. It's called global X. If you guys are not at all familiar with Python, just you can see all this code that we are learning in this video. I will I will provide the code in the description, so no need to worry about. And everything regarding the basics of Python will be cleared for you guys. So now, moving on further, what is a global keyword? Normally, when you create a function or when you create a variable inside a function, that variable is local, right? It will not work outside of the function. That can be, well, obviously, that can be only used inside a function. To create a global variable inside a function, you can use global keyword. Like, let me explain. Let's just do one thing. Let's just take this particular example here. So right now we don't have any variable here. We just have a single variable. And what we can do here is we can write global, and then I'll write global x. Whatever value I will store inside the x will become a global. Now let's do one thing. Let's run it. First, remove this indentation. Now let's run it. You can see still now it's printing that I love Python. Now let's create one more function. Find my function. Inside my function, I'll just write print x, and then I'll just close my function. Now let's see. As you saw that I have just declared a variable inside one function, it should technically not work inside another function. But I have declared it a global function using the global word. So you can see it will work, and it says Python. Just if I remove this, or if I just does like that, then if I'll run it again, it will say, see, it says name X is not defined. This is what a global keyword is all about, right? Now, I hope you have understood the basics of variables, that what exactly are variables. So I think now you guys will be not having a single doubt regarding variables. Moving on further, let's understand what is data types. Okay. So in programming, data types is a very important concept. Variable stores a lot. Variables can store the data of different types, and different types can do different things. For example, I just recently told you that what is str. Str means string. Then there is and one more thing that defines numeric types, that is int, float, and complex. And there are sequence types, that is list, tuples, and then that there is mapping things, like to map some things, that there is a dictionary. Then there is boolean. Boolean only stores two values, that is true or false, right? So this is what data types is all about. I hope by telling you basic things you understood about the data types, right? Let's just do one thing. Let's just do x equals to hello world, and similarly, let's just do a lot of things. Like I want x equals to 20. Similarly, define it as a comma b c c equals to 20.5. Similarly, there will be a d. Inside d, I can store 1j. Okay. And then let's move on further, and I'll write e equals to, inside e, I'll store apple and mango. This is apple and mango. Then now there comes an f, that is inside also I'll write the same apple, comma mango. Right. Now, same thing comes, that is range. So this is a range. Inside range, I can enter any values. You can say range stop, range object, returning to an object that which is a sequence of integrations, right? And all this stuff. So you can, if you have any doubt, you can just hover on elements and it will be telling you what the things are, right? Now, there is one more important thing, that is called dictionaries. Don't worry, we will be learning in depth about dictionaries in the upcoming further videos. Right now, just to explain the type of data types, I'm just telling you what is a dictionary. This is the dictionary, and it shows it asks a value, what is the post. Suppose I can answer comment out. This is what a dictionary is all about. Then there is some more things. No, nothing's that much important. Okay. This is what all mostly important data types are. Data types, right? This is data types. Now let's just do one thing. We'll print every single of them, and I'll write type, and inside type I'll write a comma e comma, right? Like that will check the type of every single elements. What this says cannot import data types. Line 86. Oh, okay, okay. We have to remove this. Don't know from where it came. Now let's check everything is fine. Yeah. Now let's just do one thing. Let's print it. And says Python. Type takes one or three arguments. Okay. Okay. So it says that it can only take three arguments at the max, right? Now let's just do one thing. Let's check this. Firstly, let's just check this one. Argument two tuples. Not okay. Let's just do one thing. Instead of typing it again and again, I'll just type it. Print, and inside print I'll write type, and inside type I'll write a, like that. I'll just do for every element b, and for g, right? Similarly for h. Now let's just do one thing. We'll see and we'll run it. So yeah, you can see the first one. It basically defines as the text type, and it says str. That means it's a string. And the B one, it's these all defines as the numeric types. So this is 20, and it says it's an int. If I say 20.5, so it says it's a float. Now here it says ij, that means text and numeric values are both are there at the same time. So this is called what a complex is. Now it there is an e variable which I have defined is as apple and mangoes with a square bracket. Then it that is called lists. Right here it says list. And what f is? F also has with the curly brackets, or you can say the curve normal brackets. It that is tuple. Now here I have given it a range g. I have defined a variable g that has a range. So it is class range. This is range data type. Then there is one more data type that uses curly bracket and it stores the value. This is called dictionary. Dictionary is one of the important topics that we will be studying in the upcoming videos because it you should be knowing a lot about. You should be having the basic understandings about the dictionaries so that while moving on and while working on data it will be little easy for you to understand it, right? So this was all about our data types. Now let's just do one thing before wrapping up this video. I will just give you a little introduction about the conditional statements because I think if I will try to tell you what are the conditional statements if and else, then it will be a little more uh, complex video for this one. So let's just we'll leave it on another one and we'll learn it right that what is conditional statements. Suppose any variables has the same value, like suppose here I have written suppose a equals to 1 and b equals to also 1. And I'll write here a conditional statement that is if a equals to b, right? That is true because a equals to b. Then what we have to do here is print given values. Else, what else is? So else says else print they are not equal. Okay. What I have done here is I have made a condition that suppose the given values a and b, if they are equal, then you have to print it, and if they are not equal, then you have to print it. Now just let's just run it. See, right now you saw that as we know that both values are equal, so it says the given values are equal. But by chance, if it's not the case, suppose the value of b is 5, then it will say they are not equal. So this is what a conditional statement is all about. Similarly to this, there is one more conditional statement that is greater or greater equals to. Let's just run it. They are not equal, right? Why? Because A is not greater than B, right? So it's not like that. Suppose if I say greater or equals to, then yeah, it will say the value is equal because yeah, B is bigger than A. So this is what a conditional statements is all about, right? What we will be doing here is we will be taking a brief introduction regarding this in the upcoming video. For this, this was all about Python and variables and data types in this video. In the upcoming later video, we will be learning about the loops, that what are loops, for loops, do while loops, and we will be learning a little bit more about the conditional statements. So yeah, don't forget to watch out the upcoming videos. And for that, I would really like you all to subscribe to the channel so that you won't miss upcoming videos. And if you like this one, then like, share with your friends who wants to learn Python and Django as well, right? And if you are interested in learning some of the more courses provided by Geeks for Geeks, then you guys can just hop into another website that is practice.geeksforgeeks.org. Inside this, there are a lots and lots of courses. There are free courses as well, and there are paid courses as well. So it's completely upon you which one would you like to take. But trust me, I will say these courses are amazing, and yeah, it has a lots of data. Experts from different platforms and different MNCs have came to create this amazing courses. So yeah, if you liking this one, then yeah, do Don't forget to check this one also. And I'll see you another one. Till then, see ya. Have a great day.